Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
All my life I've awaited your coming and dreaded it.
I like them French fried potatoes.
Insanity runs in my family. Practically gallant.
I always have a wonderful time wherever I am, whomever I'm with.
This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Oh, you hear the music. You can almost smell it. You can smell the music. Did I invent that term? Could I? It's the barbecue show with Jake and Stunt. I love having these guys on, and this is a topical conversation today. Barbecue etiquette at your tailgate party. Jake, Stunt, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having us, Al. As always, we appreciate it. It's here, man, the football season.
Isn't that what we're all waiting for, Stunt? You're still, I believe,
I'm
muted. Here. Oh, you are? Okay.
We're through the same channel. I just got the camera on me.
We're a hot mess over here. If you need grilled, great. If you need audio and video together, you got to call a tech.
Both of you are showing me that you're muted, and I'm hearing you fine. So, okay, I don't care. Here's before we get to
show, that's us on audio. The other ones are individual.
Let me ask you this before you get to the etiquette, because I presume the etiquette you guys are talking about is how we manage the food and our people, our friends. Can we all agree that the NFL hates the barbecue guys out there in the world?
I don't know if sure hate's the strong word. I mean, they still do allow many places, for the most part, allow tailgate zones. I believe not
my point. This is sorry, Stunt. I get where you people love barbecue people. We have 2 Sunday games in a row at 8 a.m.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah. I got to get up at 5 and start doing this thing. This is anti-barbecue guys. This is guys who want to get up and have a bowl of cereal and watch football. That's not cool.
Well, to be fair, I mean, if you just got to try a little harder and change your plans, because you could be doing brisket and eggs real easy, like at that time of the morning. Just takes a little bit of planning.
The day before a brisket done? Is that what you're saying? I got to get this.
Start the brisket the night before, and then, how many ever hours before, and then that morning you're up and you're making, pulled or chopped brisket, and you're going to serve it up with your eggs. It could be done.
Okay, that actually sounds like a pretty good idea. I think you might have jumped on something, because I'm sitting there, and no way I'm getting my ribs done by 8 a.m. It ain't happening.
Well, and the ribs aren't always the best breakfast food in that regard. Well, but we also like doing anything on the grill, right? So you got plenty of use for a Blackstone for breakfast.
I would also say that if you're not able to get your ribs done by 8 o'clock, it just feels like you're really not applying yourself, Al. There's no dedication to the bit. You got to get out there. Let's go.
Here's where see, this is, you guys are going against me here. No, this is the NFL. We're not going to have a team in Germany ever. They're not. They're not going to fly across the pond every other. So this is literally to get, let's get the German fans involved. You know what? Let the German guy want to get involved, get up at 8 a.m. We're going to have our game at regular time.
Yeah.
It's all about the money, me boy.
It's all money grab. I agree with that. Yeah. I think you should be more frustrated, honestly, about the fact that every other network and streaming service has a game. So you have to have a streaming service you never subscribe to just to watch one single game.
Do we know that that's true? Because I'm an old feller. Back in the day, if the game wasn't sold out, then the local broadcast was blacked out. That's why, Pepto-Bismol and guys would just buy, General Mills would buy up all the tickets and make it a deal. Don't they have to show doesn't the local TV have to show it for us, or do I got to get Prime? Don't tell me that's done.
I guess I don't know. We're watching more than just the Vikings play at our house. So we have a young man who's a fan of the Bills, and so we have to watch the Bills game, and he wants to watch a different game here and a different game there. So I guess in your point, we're always on Fox, aren't we, or CBS?
Yeah, pretty much.
Usually. So we usually do have it covered. But some of those games, like Christmas games, those games are on Netflix or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
they mix them up. I don't know about you guys, but I get all my Vikings football on the radio.
Oh boy, yeah.
Fine. I got no. Here's what I do is have the video on and listen to the guys on the radio. Okay, no one does it. Sure. The one that the Browns, that's an NFL Network game, us against the Browns. Is that not going to be on broadcast as well? I mean, I got to buy the NFL Network for one game.
Probably. I believe so. Yeah. So unless a local Fox 9 or something out of the Twin Cities has the rights to carry it, but I don't know because as much of a football fan as I am, I find myself not watching that much. I mean, it's got two things that fall in the way. One, I'm outside grilling. Two, it's hunting season, so there's a lot of stuff happening. There's fall golf yet out there where you're looking after your ball.
Where is your grill? Like in another county? My grill sits right outside my garage door, and I'm sitting right inside that door watching the game on my TV outside smoking a cigar. That's living the high life.
I listen on the radio on the patio, and then when there's a big play, I turn around and look through the patio glass at the living room TV and watch the play develop and replay, and then I go back to what I was doing. I've grown up with so much heartbreak.
Well,
there we go. Yeah,
it's just that.
That old excuse. All right, I don't want to take over the whole conversation, but my problem is with the timing of the grilling. Your etiquette stuff. The question I had when we were going to talk about this is, what is the etiquette? If you're going to barbecue for a deal, is it barbecue gets done by the Viking game at noon? So if you want it, that's when it's going to be at its peak. Or are you absolutely the guy who has to keep this on a low burn, and that way when Bob gets here at 1, or he's always late, or the food's still ready by the third quarter? What is the etiquette? Is it my job to have it ready all game?
Well, there's two forms of etiquette here. Stunt, I'll let you touch on the first.
Wow, I didn't know there's two forms.
There's two versions of what he's talking about. There's the tailgating at the stadium.
Okay, there's that.
Okay.
And then there's the I'm grilling a bunch of stuff and the guys are coming over.
Right.
That's two entirely separate deals.
That's true. Okay. Yes. And I was going to go off what you were just how you set it up there, though, Al, is if I'm making food at home, I'm doing two things. I'm usually having something ready by lunch. So ribs are not by lunch, but by halftime. So if I'm making ribs, they're ready at halftime.
Yep.
But before kickoff, there's another dish ready off the smoker. If it's a smoked queso, if it's some sort of bites of some sort, whatever it may be, there's something else coming off the grill before the game starts. And then there's a halftime food as well, right? Because we're diving in. It's Sunday.
Oh, I like that.
All kinds of food.
I'll let you guess how long we've been married, but I knew he was going to take that route. And
quick time out before you go any further. Then let me ask you real quick about brats or kibasas, that sort of thing. Do those work well on a grill, a smoker? In that because it's in a casing. Does it take the smoke very well? Because I was thinking I'm going to do that. I love a little bratwurst sliced up for dipping. Does that take on a smoker because it's in casing?
It's an interesting question because a lot of those are smoked before. That's part of the curing process before they come out of the butcher shop or the meat market, wherever you got them. But the short answer is go ahead. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you add a little smoke and maybe not as much as you were anticipating. But remember, your smoker acts like an oven and a grill also. And if you add a hint of extra smoke to it, God bless.
Well, not out of anything.
I know you do your brats anyway, Jake, though, with a bath of onion and broth or whatever you got going on.
You take a couple onions and you chop them big and you pour, you throw those in a pan with a can of beer and some garlic cloves, and then you boil them in there. Then you introduce them to the heat and the smoke and all that good stuff. And that just...
I knew that's how you did yours.
Yeah, that's the only way to go. And if you're traveling, like your Stunt's going to have a he's grilling at his place for the game. I can boil those brats up ahead of time, throw them in a Tupperware because I'm an 80s kid, and then walk them over to his place and throw them on the grill whenever I want to. They're ready to go.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Any other etiquette about at-home cooking? I know I just asked about that. Is there some at-home barbecuing that I have to know before the game? I love the halftime thing. I get it. You can get your ribs done at the halftime. That's my gig. But for folks that, I got some chicken or whatever, are you just constantly out there? Is it okay for the barbecue guy to go in and watch the show?
I mean, that's part of the pain of being a barbecue guy. You got to stay by the grill. You got to manage the fire. But I mean, in that regard, to Jake's point, Vikings games are on the radio. So you can always hear it no matter where you're at by the grill, or if you're not in front of the TV in the garage, or however it might work.
It's a true story.
Why do I think the boss just walked past you, Stunt, and now all of a sudden you've changed? Why? I get a feeling is all. All right, the other kind of etiquette we got to talk about is going out there and tailgating, and that's what these guys, I think, are really going to talk about before I got involved. We'll get into that right after this. It's the Barbecue Show with Jake and Stunt Monkey on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jay's can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is the guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052. Welcome back to the Barbecue Show. Jake and Stunt Monkey talking all things etiquette when it comes to tailgating, and there's more to it than I think you realize. Jake, Stunt, give me your ideas, some tailgating etiquette we should all know about.
Well, there's two types of etiquette I think you have to look at, Al. Number one, and I think, Stunt, you'll agree, there's two things you have to look at. One is the etiquette as the cooker, and two is the etiquette as the tailgater. Because you have to understand, if you're providing food, if you're at a big place, and especially college, I think of like St. John's up there, where it's just, they're just stacked in there, and it's like 2 city blocks of food lined up, and tents and tables and smokers and grills, and it's just expected that you can stroll through and kind of help yourself. Really, it's almost like an open buffet. So you have to understand that you're not just cooking for you and your 6 friends. You're probably going to be, ponying up for a lot of random folks that are walking through. So just go in knowing that. And if you're not doing that, if you're not ponying up for those other people, then you need to set up your situation appropriately. So it's not open and inviting to everybody, because that's kind of the theme of tailgate. As the tailgater, I would say, take the extra step and don't just assume that everything is free game.
Hey, it's all as good.
is to make friends, and it's to get to know people and look for other fans, so to speak, and there's that camaraderie building, and part of that is that conversation part of it.
And and you expect you're gonna get some food when you walk to everybody's booth, but you're not always gonna get food, and can't expect that at the same time.
Right.
Bringing enough to share, I think, is number one for the guy who's gonna be doing the grilling, the tailgating. I think number two is minding your smoke a little bit, kind of like minding your personal space. Right. Just because you got your smoker set up at a tailgate spot doesn't mean the guy next to you wants to have all that smoke in his face. So mind where the smoke's going, which way the wind's headed, and if you can keep it away from everybody's face. And once the fire gets going, you're gonna have minimal heavy smoke anyway. Right. But you still want to be mindful of that. I think is a big part of tailgating etiquette.
The other thing I think that people overlook sometimes is there's two types of tailgaters. There's hot, fast, and easy. And I gotta appreciate the fact that I filtered myself. There's like 9 jokes that just won't follow that right now, and I stopped myself because I'm an adult, Al.
The Al Travis Show appreciates you minding your filters.
There's several program directors across the state, but there's the hot, fast, easy guy, and then there's the guy who's looking to impress. He thinks Alton Brown's coming through, or one of those celebrity chefs. Figure out which one you are and do it appropriately. Because my thing is, it's a lot easier to do brats and hot dogs and things, finger food that you don't need utensils or a plate or feel the need to sit down and eat. If you're going to do fancy stuff, that's great, but present it and serve it in a way that people don't feel like they have to sit down and eat with a knife and fork.
You might be mindful of the fact that this is definitely a walk around and eat, and nobody's got a real good spot to wash their hands. You don't want ribs are great at home. I don't know if ribs are great necessarily when you got a sloppy, messy one at a tailgate, because you're gonna have it all over your face, all over your hands.
I have seen people French their ribs. You know how you do like a standing rib roast, and you'll French the bone so the part of the bone is sticking out without the meat on it. You carve off about an inch of meat off that rib bone before you smoke it. Then you've got a built-in handle, which is nice. The other thing to remember is that at most tailgate events, people only have one available hand
because the other one's got
a beverage
beer in it.
That's right.
Let me ask you this: when it comes to etiquette, you're the guy who's roaming around, and you think you know something about a barbecue, or you think you know something. Are folks out there doing? Are you looking for a buddy? Hey, what'd you put on those, and how long you got them? You know what I like to do is you're looking for barbecue helpers randomly walking up out of a crowd.
I wouldn't say it's barbecue helpers as much as that. You know how car guys like to talk about their car?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Okay, barbecue guys are the same way. If you walk up and just inkle, they will tell you everything they did to those ribs or that dish or how they did it. And they want to share that info with you. They're like a kid who just learned to play guitar. He's going to play for free as long as someone listens.
Even if you just drop in, that's a pretty unique smoker. Well, I tell you what, I got this one on a deal. This is how I got it. This is what it is. Absolutely happens.
I got the Traeger XL9 4000 just last week.
My grandpa and I built this one from an old drum. But it's true.
We've never cleaned this one in the history of the grill. We've never cleaned it because it gets you that extra flavor of mold.
It's called ash.
So that's good news, bad news. So do you play it off? I mean,
don't be afraid to ask questions and don't be afraid to give information. I mean, it's no different than when you go to competitions and you walk around and if the competitive guys are there cooking, and they'll talk your ear off, and they fully expect you're going to come up and ask them questions. And typically the better the guy, the better the cook, I should say, and the better the product, the more willing he is to share. You ever notice that? Like the more successful someone is, the more willing they are to help the young guy coming in. Yeah. Because they understand that, I don't want to sound too cliche, but rising tide raises all ships. You know what I mean? So you want to share that knowledge. You want to help somebody, and it's kind of a little brag there too.
Yeah, for sure. Let people know how good you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've got more, but I only have 1 minute, so I'd really like to ask if folks like the barbecue show, and you guys know what in the world you're talking about, how do they go about getting it alongside, other than listening to this fine radio station every couple of weeks? Where do they get the barbecue show?
$49.99. No, I'm kidding.
We're also available on podcasts every week. We do the show, and it airs on some great radio stations, including this one right here. And then we also end up doing a podcast version of the show. So like last week's State Fair show was just edited down for radio, but then the full thing was almost an hour long from the Minnesota State Fair. And so that's up on our podcast, The BBQ Show, The Barbecue Show, on Instagram, Facebook, also on TikTok, and also on every one of your favorite podcast platforms.
Jake, Stunt, appreciate you both. Appreciate you coming on the show. I really do.
Anything for you, Al.
Appreciate it.
It's the Barbecue Show. Check them out. Get your podcast. It's actually the Barbecue Show. They've got it. I don't know how that was still there. More after this.
Tired of one-sided media and